Hello everybody, Mary Janet here from Tunes and Wooden Spoons, and I'm going to be making a caramel cheesecake for dessert this Thanksgiving weekend. And so I want to start right away by wishing you all a very happy Thanksgiving. I just took out of the oven my sticky toffee pudding, so that video is already on my Facebook page and it turned out really nice. So this is the caramel cheesecake that I've been wanting to make. So I'll be making it with you for the first time because I found this recipe by a gal in the US that had a great recipe. I forget her name, I should give her the credit, but anyway, I will at the end of the video, I promise. But anyway, I have all my ingredients kind of sort of ready, and I will go ahead and I'll wash my hands and I'll set the oven to 325, okay? So you're going to start baking your cheesecake at 325, but then you're going to turn it down to 300. So there's a couple of things about making the cheesecake, this particular recipe that I want to bring to your attention. It's going to be baked in a water bath. So I had not done that before, so I was rooting around seeing what I could find. So basically the first thing we're going to do is going to prepare our pan. So I have my 9-inch springform pan, okay, springform pan, and I've put in it a circle of parchment paper. I did not put grease around the outside. You don't have to do that. So that part is ready. However, because it's going in a water bath, I'll just show you. You have to put it in a larger pan. Now I have this one is this big pan. This is what I use for my lasagna. It's not a 9 by 13. It's an 11 by 15 pan, and it seems to my springform pan kind of fits in it. If I show you, I'll put it in. It's a little rocky, but I can get away with it. And what happens is you're going to put boiling water in the pan. Now, a couple of things before we go forward on that. Number one, I'm going to put this pan, on the oven rack. When I'm ready to put the cheesecake in the oven, I'm going to put that on the oven rack because I'm worried about spillage. And you're going to need boiling water, so put your kettle on and have boiling water. I didn't do that, but I'm going to do it right now. So because we're using a springform pan, the lady that had this recipe said you have to cover so that there be no leakage, no way of the water seeping into your batter. So I have a great big piece of foil. I get that heavy duty foil from Costco, so it's in a great big 100 meters in it or whatever. So I'm just gonna put that underneath my pan, and I'm just gonna wrap it all the way around. You can make it nice and neat, which I know that I'll do. And then you can be sure that no water is going to leak in there. All right? Just snug it up a little bit. Okay, people? So all the way around. So I'm just going to put that aside. I'm going to put my water on and turn my burner on to boil the water. So you're probably wondering why I picked that particular pan to put my springform pan in that has sides, and why can't you use cookie sheet? Well, you know what? You might be able to use a cookie sheet too, but the recipe specifies bring the water up to about an inch along the outside edges off the springform pan. So I was thinking, I don't think I could do that with my cookie sheet, which would be the one of choice, you would think. But anyway, so I had that pan. You do what you want. And the reason that was explained by this gal is that this will assure that your cheesecake won't crack and split. So the proof is in the pudding. I'll see what will happen. As soon as you get it out of the oven, you have to run it around the edge with a knife so that it doesn't, stick to the sides. And so we'll go forward and we'll start preparation and hope for the best. But how can you ruin cheesecake? The other thing, oh yeah, I was going to tell you. Now, in order for you to be sure that your cheesecake is done, what is the right temperature? Let me just see if I wrote that down. And anyway, have you ever seen one of these gadgets? And it's also got another probe here that you say if you wanted to stay in the oven in a roast beef or whatever you're cooking, you can leave that in the oven, and this can be outside the oven, and it will register the temperature, and it'll beep. But anyway, it's also on the back has this little probe, and probe sits at the back, and this is for an instant read. It's an instant read thermometer, and it'll register. So if you are cooking a cheesecake and it's kind of jiggly in the center, and sometimes when you're using sour cream in a recipe, it might be a little bit more jiggly. And usually if you have about a 2-inch circle in the middle that's still jiggling, it's okay, it'll set. But this is a great idea to have at some point in your bunch of baking stuff. If you can manage to buy something like this, it doesn't have to be, this is Pampered Chef, of course, and you just put this probe in the center and it instantly reads, and you want it to be, I thought I wrote it down, but like 145 or 150. That is the exact temperature when you know that your cheesecake is done. But just want to mention that because I will be using this today, but I'm going to follow the recipe as tightly as I can. Okay, so oven is ready. The water is not boiling yet, and I'm going to move you down to the bowl so you can see exactly what I am doing. We're going to start with the base. The base is 1 cup of graham wafer crumbs and 1 tablespoon of melted butter. Now you can use just vanilla wafers. If you're not a graham wafer person, just use vanilla wafers and just do them up in your blender or crush them with a rolling pin in a bag, whatever. I already bought the crumbs of graham wafers, so that's what I'll be using today. So 1 cup of graham wafer crumbs and 1 tablespoon of butter. You're going to mix that together and then press that in the bottom of the pan. Okay, I'm going to move you down so you can see my table. Okay, there now. So in here I'm going to put 1 cup of crumbs, this is a 1/2 cup measure, so fill that twice. A little bit extra won't hurt. And I've already melted my butter, and it's 1 tablespoon. That should take about 10 seconds in your microwave, okay? So I'm just going to pour that in. Make sure you get every last bit of, don't waste any butter, and because you'll need it. just stir that around. And just use the back of your spoon to try to combine it. You probably figure, my gosh, that's not a lot of butter, and it isn't, but that's what the recipe called for. So I'm making this along with you. I hope it's not one of those crusts that kind of crumble apart when you go and serve it. Okay, that's as much as I think I can mix it up. And I think once I put it into my springform pan that it'll be fine. Okay. So your prepared pan, pour that in. Just move it all around and you're going to press it down. And you don't bake this ahead of time. I kind of like to make a little edge. If you can. Okay. That's good. Okay, we'll set that aside. And now you're going to need 3 bricks of cream cheese. So basically I've had these, it's now 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I took this out when I got up this morning around 7, so they'd been sitting on the counter. But oftentimes if I'm baking like first thing in the morning, I'll take them out and leave them out on the counter all night. I'm just going to cube this up just for ease of mixing for my little electric mixer. And if you have one of those fancy mixers, well, you're going to have an easy job. Do you know what? I finally bought one. I didn't buy the expensive one, but honestly, I was scared to use it because I'm just worried that it wouldn't mix up well enough for me. All right. Okay, people. Now all we have to do with this is we're going to beat it up until it's smooth, and then we're going to gradually add the sugar. So we're going to get the sugar ready over here on the side. I'm going to have 1 cup of white sugar, because I'll be turning the beater off and on while I'm doing this, okay? So I'm going to use a 1/2 cup measure, and I'm going to put 1 cup of white sugar in my bowl. And you're going to use 1 cup of sour cream. So I just bought the 250 gram small carton of sour cream, and that's 1 cup. So have that at the ready. You're going to need a teaspoon of vanilla. So I'm just going to take the cover off because I'm just actually going to spill it in. And you are going to need 3 eggs. So I'm actually going to put the eggs in a bowl because I'm going to slip them in one at a time. Hope that there's no eggshell in there, and there isn't. Great to have some paper towel close by for wiping your hands. Okay, so I have my electric beater and I have my spatula ready too. I'll need that. And that, my friends, is the ingredients for the cheesecake. So you're going to beat the cream cheese until it's nice and creamy, right? Just until it's smooth, okay? So we'll give that a go. Sorry for the noise, but it's a necessary part. Wow, that's a lot of mixing. I think that's as smooth as I'm going to get it. Now you're going to add your white sugar. Just gradually, a little bit at a time. I'm just going to scrape down the sides. And I am going to add the sour cream all at one time. And I'm going to put my vanilla in at this moment. And the last will be the eggs. And it's 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I guess I'll measure. Get this off the spatula. it says that it's very important that you don't overmix, so I'm just being very careful that I do that correctly. Scrape off the sides. Okay, so now I'm going to add the eggs one at a time. And usually when I have it in a bowl, they'll plop in one at a time when I just tip it. So see how this works. Now, that was the one thing that it said to mix until that last egg is just combined. So I'm just going to mix the sides in. And that, my friends, is your cheesecake base. Oh my God, it smells so good. Okay. So, bring your pan over and put your batter in. Oh my God, I could eat it just like that. It smells so good. Whoever invented cheesecake must have been thinking of me. Love that stuff. Okay. Basically, that's it. Okay, now comes the interesting part. I can't tell you exact measure of water because I'm not really sure. But let me take you over to my counter, to my stove. Hi. So my kettle or my pot is boiling. And whatever's in there, I think there's about, what is there, 6 cups of water in this. I love this. It acts like a teapot as well, or whatever, and it's got a cover on it. It's made by Epicure, and I got it many years ago. Okay, see if I can show this to you and do it right. And you're probably saying, oh my God, our oven's not that clean. Oh God, are you guys spotless oven keepers? I'm gonna pull it out. Can you see that okay? Not really. Okay, that's as good as I can do, people. So I am going to put my pan on the oven rack. See if I can pull this out a little bit further. I don't want to pull it out too far. No, I'm not really comfortable doing that. I'm going to put my cheesecake in it. And I'm going to pour the water in. That's about an inch. That 6 cups just was perfect. Okay. I'm going going to close that. Very carefully. It's at 325, and I'm going to time it for just 10 minutes, and then we're going to change the, I better check the recipe. So, $325, yeah, for 10 minutes, and then I'm going to reduce the heat to 300. Okay, so 10 minutes. I'll see you in 10. Okay, the timer just went off, so it's been in there in 325 for 10 minutes. Now you're going to reduce your oven temperature to 300, and you're going to leave it in the oven for 1 hour and 15 minutes, okay? So I'm going to reduce to 300. I'm going to put it, I'm going to set the timer for 1 hour and 15 minutes. Perfect. I'll see you in an hour and 15. And then there's a whole other set of directions that we must follow. So, hold on. Hi everyone. Okay, my timer is going off. And so what we're going to do is going to turn the oven off. And you're just going to leave the cheesecake in the oven. Don't take it out, and you're going to leave it for 30 minutes. Turn your timer on for 30 minutes. And I'm just going to check the recipe again. And once you do that, then you don't remove it from the oven. You turn the heat off and you let the cheesecake stay in the oven for about 30 minutes. Then you open the oven door a bit and let it sit for another 10 minutes. All right? See you shortly. Hi. Okay, the timer's going off. It's been in there for 30 minutes. I'm going to turn the timer off, and I'm going to leave the oven door ajar. Can you see my cheesecake? Looks good. And I'm just going to leave the door ajar for another 10 minutes, okay? We're done. See you in a minute. Okay, it's out of the oven and it looks perfect. If you can see that, there's no cracks. I'm gonna try this probe. I'm wondering if this works. Okay, we're getting there. Okay, so it registered 151. I don't know if you can see that, but so that means that it's definitely cooked. I'm going to get a knife, and I'm just going to slide around the edge of the pan. Hard to do this without it sticking to the knife. Okay. Take it out of its foil wrapping. There's actually a little water in mine, but it seems to be okay. So, no cracks. And now I'll show you how to make the caramel sauce. I'll insert the video because it's the same caramel sauce as I make for the sticky toffee pudding. So I'll insert that video and you'll be all set. Okay, talk to you later. Everything goes in all together. And I'm just gonna put the camera down so that you can see what it is I'm doing. I've pre-measured my stuff so that you'll know. So just so you can get it ready, you need a cup of butter or whatever it is that you wanna use, 2 cups of brown sugar, just a sprinkle of salt, a little dash of salt, and a cup of heavy cream. Now heavy cream, if I were to use heavy cream, according to the recipe, I'd use whipping cream because that's 35% fat content. So that's what is known as heavy cream. And that's not what I'm using. I'll use what I have in the fridge in the cream category. So I had some blend cream from a recipe earlier in the week, and I had some coffee cream. Coffee cream is 18% fat and the blend cream is 10% fat. So I've just combined them together to make 1 cup. There's no sense just going getting something special. I do have coffee cream in the fridge for coffee. Don't drink coffee. Cecil drinks coffee, and everybody that's coming this weekend loves their coffee, so I had to get a big tall one. So I sprinkled a little bit of that in there to bring it up to a cup and used my blend cream. So you use what you want, but definitely use cream of some sort. If you want to use the heavy cream, the whipping cream, that's do so, because that's what the recipe calls for. Okay, so I have my pot, I have my butter, I have my brown sugar, and I have my cream already. So I'm going to turn the camera down so you can see. All right. So first I'm going to put the butter in. I better get a spoon here. And your 2 cups, so that's 1 cup of butter, 2 cups of brown sugar, and 1 cup of cream. And it says a dash of salt, so I'm just gonna just do a little sprinkle. And I'm going to turn it on medium, and I'm going to set my timer for 7 minutes. I'm going to set the microwave timer because my stove and oven timer is already watching the cake. So I really do believe in these timers. Sometimes save your neck. So I'm setting it for 7 minutes, but I might have made a mistake there. So no, I'm going to cancel that timer because I'm going to stir it until it begins to boil. So once it begins to boil, then you set your timer for 7 minutes. See if you can get a better view of that. If you cut up your butter like I did, it'll melt faster and be able to get to that stage. So what are you guys all having for your turkey dinner? Do you make dressing? Do you use the box dressing, or do you make your own homemade? Cecil loves to make our dressing, and how we make our dressing is his mother and my mother, they made similar dressings. And it was about in a pot like this, you put, you know, about a half a cup of butter, and then probably a small onion grated, and then three of the spices, just poultry seasoning, sage, and what's that other one? Savory, summer savory, and salt and pepper. So that was the base of it. And prior to all of this, you took about 10 pieces of you know, store-bought bread and put it on a cookie sheet in a low oven, and toasted them till they were hard and crisp and kind of brown. And take that out and roll it with a rolling pin till it was breadcrumbs. Now you can just use breadcrumbs, but we still use the actual pieces of bread to make the breadcrumbs. And so then you put those breadcrumbs right in that mixture, and then you add a little bit of white sugar. I would say maybe a teaspoon and a half. And as well, prior to all of this, you would have cooked some mashed potatoes. I would say maybe 4 good-sized potatoes. Cut them up and boil them and mash them. And then put that all in together and mash it up and taste it. And then that's when the spices went back in. It's a taste testing game. You taste it and you say, needs a little more poultry seasoning or a little more salt and pepper. You know, you just kind of play it by ear. And that was our dressing. Another dressing that my mother made, like this is the lady who raised me, she made a sweet dressing, and I never ate it. I didn't like it, but it had raisins in it, and it was something that she prepared, I believe, when she worked in Boston and worked for a wealthy family, and that was one of the dressings that she made there. So I'm going to set my timer now for 7 minutes. And I'm going to tell you something else about cranberries. So that's coming along nicely. When the bubbles start around the edges, that's when I would set my timer. So that had started, and I think that will be fine. So back to what we have with we usually have like the turkey, and we have mashed potatoes, and we have carrots, and we have peas. I love peas. And turnip. And that's our plate. And then from the drippings, we do put the stuffing in the turkey, and we usually put it once we have the dressing all made. We put it in. We lay what's that called? Cheesecloth. Put cheesecloth out on the counter, and we put all our dressing in the cheesecloth, and then we wrap it up. We don't tie it off, and we stuff it inside the turkey. And you know, it's very pliable and easy to put in there. And once it gets in there, it just kind of, we don't actually tie it off, although you could. I'm turning the heat down on this, people. And you know, we put it in the oven like that. But we, and then it's so easy when you're taking the dressing out. You pull on it and it's still pliable, and you have your dressing all in a nice neat bag, and you're not scraping the inside of the turkey. I don't like doing that. So that's that. And we always have homemade cranberries. So, a few years ago, I think it was our sister-in-law that gave us the recipe for this, but just let me get my cranberries out of the fridge. So this is fresh cranberries, and how much is in this bag? Oh gosh, it doesn't even say. I cannot tell you. That's really strange that it doesn't have the amount on there, but anyway. They're always, oh, look at it. I couldn't see it. It's 12 ounces or 340 grams. So what would that be? You know, a cup and maybe 3 cups or something like that. So, so we take, and put it in a pan like this. Just keep stirring this sauce. I didn't mean to tell you about all this stuff that we do, but we have 7 minutes, so I have to fill the time. So in a medium saucepan, we mix, put some water, about 3/4 cups of water, and a little zest of an orange, you know, scrape it all up, and orange juice, about 1/4 cup of orange juice, and about 3/4 cup of white sugar, and you put that in the pan, and you mix it all up, and you just bring it to a boil. And as soon as it comes to a boil, add your package of cranberries, and you put the cover on, and just put that down on low, and you simmer for about 5 minutes until the cranberries have burst. And then what we do is we remove it from the heat, and if you like it whole like that, that's fine. But what we do when we remove it from the heat, we just mash it a little bit with our masher, and we just put it in a container then, and when it comes to room temperature, we cover it and refrigerate it until it's cool. And as it's cooling, it thickens up, you know, and everybody loves it. So just I'll repeat that again. A package of fresh cranberries, 3/4 cup of white sugar, 1/4 cup of orange juice, 3/4 cups of water, and some orange zest, and a package of cranberries. This is like 12 ounces or 340 grams. And you mix everything but the cranberries together, the water, white sugar, the zest, the orange juice, the water, and bring it to a boil, and then add the cranberries, and then let that simmer for about 5 minutes, and with the cover on, and then remove it from the heat and mash it up. If you want it, you know, without 2 big bunches of big pieces of cranberries. And that's that. So we have about 30 seconds left in this. And there's about 13 minutes left in my cake. So basically, all you're going to do is leave this on your counter till it comes to room temperature. Or, if you're really ambitious, make it about an hour before you're going to serve it, because you'll want to serve it warm. It's delicious. Okay. So there now. That's it. And I mean, maybe I'll just do another 30 seconds or so because it wasn't really at a full rolling boil when I started it. But all the sugar is melted and the butter, everything is just really, and oh my, it smells so good. Oh, lovely, lovely, lovely. Why is everything so tasty? So fattening. All right, people, that's in the oven. Your sauce is all ready. And I'll see you back in a few minutes.